Another segment of Natural Healing. I'm your host, Dr. Kim Foyer T. Padu, the director of the Foundation for Natural Healing, and it's our premise that the body is able to heal itself. Of course, you have things to do in terms of the keys to good health that we need to practice. Many of them we've learned since we were children, such as eating a proper diet, drinking a proper amount of water, proper exercise, rest, and proper thinking habits. Well, there's a lot happening today in our environment that we may not be paying much attention to. And today we're going to talk about the possible dangers of cell phone use. And we're bringing back an old guest. I don't mean old, chronologically,
Well,
but an old guest, Mr. Jeff Bear, who's a researcher, an inventor, a scientist, and, well, just a general good guy that's interested in people, and he usually helps me with a lot of research. So, Jeff, thank you for coming in here.
Pleasure to return. Thank you.
Good, and sharing with our guests, with our audience here. Cell phone use. Now, we know it has really increased. It's, you can walk anywhere, and you'll see people walking across the street, wherever you see them, with a glued to their ear.
It's absolutely. It's become almost a commodity item, something you won't leave home without. People just feel they need to be in touch with each other, parents with their children, families with each other, business conferences. It's a wonderful device, except like every good thing, there's a dark side to it. And there are health risks associated with the cell phones, which are not making public notice because you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry that doesn't really want to publicize the reports that they actually financed some 10 years ago. There was a book published as a result of a Dr. George Carlos, who was hired, I think it was back in the early 90s, to do a complete study. And a consortium of all the major cell phone companies got together, raised over $28 million to do a study to see if there was, in fact, any risk to the use of cell phone. After his 3-year study, his results were astonishingly frightening in that there was a lot more risk and more health problems associated with cell phones than they even imagined. And they immediately disbanded his organization. And, the books that were published were actually bought back from the bookstores. Over 20,000 books were published, and it was called Cell Phones, Invisible Hazards in a Wireless Age. And the book is now being published again, so if any of your viewers want to find it, again, it's Cell Phones, Invisible Hazards in a Wireless Age. We have a photo of the book here, Dr. George Carlo.
And where can that book be?
If you can't find it in the bookstores because it is being limited in terms of distribution, I'm sure if your viewers contact you, we can give them the information or see that the book's available.
All right, now, just give us an idea of some of the dangers that this book points out with the cell phones.
Well, the cell phone is a radiation-emitting device. It has to transmit and receive signals, which are electromagnetic frequencies, electromagnetic forces, in order to communicate. And these electromagnetic forces disrupt our nervous system, disrupt the cellular organization. It causes problems similar to, if they use an example like the microwave. It produces heat. If you've ever cooked in a microwave, you know if you leave meat in there just a matter of seconds too long, it gets burned crisp. Microwave ovens put out a large amount of energy. Cell phones, a very small amount. But again, it's exposure and time that can be the problem. And I think a lot of people, if they think about it, when you use a cell phone, do you notice that the side of your head gets warm after just as little as 15 minutes? That's the energy of the cell phone being projected into your ear and to your skull.
Into your skull,
Yeah.
and as a result, into your brain.
Exactly. I mean, the evidence is very strong. They are very conservative by their saying here. For instance, the brain cancer has increased by 25% since 1973. Every year, there have been over 185,000 more cases in the U.S. alone. Younger people are more vulnerable to EMF, electromagnetic force waves, due to a thinner skull and a mature and growing brain.
Sure.
Researchers found that just 2 hours of exposure to cell phones caused brain cancer in rats, laboratory rats, and the destruction of cells important for memory and listening. And that the high-frequency EMF waves are proven to lead to significant increase in blood pressure.
Oh,
These are just some of the factors by use of the cell phone.
increasing in blood pressure, and that's a problem in our community right now. Hypertension.
Yeah.
There's enough other stresses, let alone cell phone use, to bring about.
True.
Okay, now you did mention something there about children, and the fact that their skulls are thinner, so therefore they are affected even more by the cell phone use. And yet, we find the children are using them, and the manufacturers are actually they're selling them to children. They're promoting their use. They're changing them, making them look like little toys. You know, all these pretty colors and whatnot.
Exactly right.
They're marketing to the younger people.
And that's why I'm looking through the documents, which I guess we'll be showing on the screen later. But there are images here showing how the penetration of the radiation into the thinner skulls and the narrow diameters is more dangerous to children than to a mature adult whose brain and bone form has thickened up over time. And the big danger is also when cells are growing, they need to be controlled, their growth, by the cell, the nucleus, which controls DNA and all the development.
Right.
When you subject it to radiation, and there is no debate, any medical book will tell you that radiation is a known carcinogen.
Oh, yeah.
And when you expose cells to radiation, you cause deformity, you cause malfunctions, and when a cell is out of control and its nucleus isn't controlling its growth, it grows too rapidly, devours all the food source around it, and kills off the other cells by drawing in its energy and food. Cells that are out of control become tumors, cancer, and it could be lethal. And cell phones are now directly linked to that. The evidence is in.
Okay, some very prominent people, and one in particular, I think you were mentioning to me, Johnny Cochran.
Johnny Cochran is a very large figure. He's one of tens of thousands of people who've died from brain tumors. And his own doctor said that his excessive use, or his use of the cell phone, led to the brain tumor. He had a tumor on the left side of his head, and he literally lived with a cell phone to his head while he was in his car, in his airplane, in the courtroom, and talking all the time. He's one of many examples of what the cell phones could cause and are being linked to.
All right, now I want to just divert for a minute to other appliances that would have the same effect on the body in terms of emanating those microwave type of destruction,
Sure.
such as, and this one sort of surprised me, but I don't know why it surprised me, but hair dryers.
Well, if you think about it, any electrical device creates an electric force around it.
Right.
Our bodies run on electricity. We have an aura. Our nervous system, our entire energy package is electrical. And when it's disrupted by an outside electrical force, it causes problems. Hair dryers are electric motors and 1,500 watts of electrically created heat. And that is an electro force that's unnatural to us as a biological creature. Vacuum cleaners, computer screens, TV screens, just about anything, microwave ovens, obviously, just about any device that creates an electrical field around it can impinge upon our electrical field and create problems.
And create